Okay. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for joining. My name is Ann Nakahira. I am a minister's assistant at the OCBC, Orange County Buddhist Church, here in Anaheim, California. Today, I wanted to talk to you about one of the things that I did this past summer. It's the LABCC summer camp, which is a 1-week sleepaway camp for kids aged 8 to 13. So if you grew up at a Buddhist temple in Southern California, there's a high chance that you attended LABCC summer camp growing up. It's a summer camp that started in 1955. It's been going on every summer for the past almost 70 years. There was 1 year, because of COVID, we didn't have in-person camp, but we did pull off a virtual camp that year in 2020. But other than that, it's been going on every summer. Our current camp location is Camp Morningstar in the San Bernardino Mountains. Its location is near Big Bear Lake. There's been other camps such as Camp Yolani or Camp Arbolado in the past. And I was a camper. Here I am. I'm on the lower left corner of this picture with the glasses. Here I am in my first year with my cabin mates. I actually keep in touch with the girl that's next to me. Her name's Kathy. And we actually have both daughters that are the same age. And even our daughters were together in the same cabin their first year as campers. So because this camp has been going on for so long, there are campers who are, have become counselors, and then they are now parents who bring their own campers to camp. There's now even grandparents that send their grandchildren to camp. So after being a camper, I came back and became a counselor. I was a lead counselor at one point. I was on arts and crafts. I stopped volunteering once I became busy with my work career and raising 2 young kids. And then I recently came back on the medical staff. I'm a pharmacist in my day job. And once my daughter was old enough to go to camp, I also went on staff on the medical staff. So here you can see, these are the participating temples in LABCC. So temples like Koyasan and Zenshuji, they're not Jodo Shinshu, they're not Shin Buddhist temples, but most of the participating temples are BCA affiliated. So you might be familiar with Gardena or Nishi, the Los Angeles Hoponganji Buddhist Temple. Higashi Honganji and West Covina are Higashi temples. They're not part of the BCA. There are a lot of temples listed here, but many of the temples don't have children anymore. So most of the kids come from OCBC or Nishi or even Zenshuji. So just to give you a little bit history of LABCC Summer Camp, again, it was started in 1955. It was organized by the Los Angeles Buddhist Coordinating Council. So LABCC was initially a social organization that coordinated activities for young Nisei adults. There were members of the various Buddhist temples in Los Angeles, in and around Little Tokyo, Boyle Heights area. LABCC as an organization was formed soon after the Japanese Americans came back from the concentration camps. The temples were social centers for these young adults, so LABCC coordinated dances, sports leagues, and conferences and seminars. I think it's pretty amazing that these young Niseis who were in their 20s and 30s were able to coordinate such a camp as they were trying to rebuild their lives after the concentration camps. I recently participated in an interview with a former staff member from Venice Buddhist Temple. His name is Mr. Joe Watari, and he's a super sweet man. He's 99 years old. I remember him when I was a camper because he was a good friend of my dad's. He was one of the original staff members in 1955. And when we asked him what is the main message you wanted to convey to the campers, and he said, be a good person, be friendly, and follow Buddhist teachings. So very simple message for the campers. My dad, Mr. Ben Jinkawa, was also one of the original staff members. This newspaper clipping is from 1955, and it says there are 30 children that went on the bus, and this bus probably left from either Nishi or Senshin. Now we have about 130 to 140 campers every year. At one point, we were even up to 170 campers. So what's a typical day like at camp? Every morning starts with a service. And because not everybody is from a Shin Buddhist temple, when we gasho, we don't say Namo Amida Butsu, we say Namo Kie Butsu, Namo Kie Ho, Namo Kie So. So when I was a kid going to camp over 40 years ago, we used to just follow the minister who was leading the service. So there was different ministers from different temples, some from Zenshuji, Nichiren. So we would just say what the minister said. So it was either Namo Amida Butsu, Namyo Horen Gekyo, or Namo Kie Butsu, Namo Kie Ho, Namo Kie So. So this Namo Kie Butsu, Namo Kie Ho, or Namo Kie So is reciting the three treasures, which is applicable to all Buddhists. So that's why we chose to say this at LABCC now. The three treasures in Buddhism are the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So Namo Kie Butsu is I rely on the Buddha. Namo Kie Ho is I rely on the Dharma. And Namo Kie So is I rely on the Sangha. We recite the English version of the three treasures at our OCBC service sometimes. You can find it on page 10 in your service book. And then for special services such as Hatsumairi, the reverends might recite Namo Kie Butsu, Namo Kie Ho, or Namo Kie So. And then also at any Shin Buddhist temple, you'll see Amida Buddha or Namo Amida Butsu written in the altar. But at summer camp, we have a picture of Shakyamuni Buddha or the historic Buddha in our makeshift altar. So you can see that here. Okay, so the rest of the day is filled with activities. There's canoeing at Jenks Lake, which is about 1.5 miles away. There's archery, there's swimming, there's arts and crafts. Groups go on overnight hikes and sleep at a nearby campsite and have hot chocolate and s'mores in front of a campfire. For many of the campers, it's really their first experience of being in the mountains, among the tall trees, the fresh air, the smell of campfires. It might be their first time walking on dirt trails. It's not a paved sidewalk. Or it might be their first time hiking. As each camper returns year after year, they really grow an appreciation for the great outdoors. The campers make new friends, they learn to live together and realize how special this place and this experience truly is. So being in the outdoors with nature and being among your peers really connects you with Buddhism. You're away in the mountains, you're unplugged from your electronic devices. It really gives a chance for these campers and staff alike to be away from the busy city. So it's no surprise that in Japan and in China, many of the Buddhist monasteries are in the mountains. So what do we teach the kids, the campers? Every year there's a theme that's taught to the campers by the ministers. This year it was about the golden chain. Other years they may have learned about the 6 paramitas or the 8-fold path. But one of the Buddhist concepts that's not explicitly taught but definitely experienced is interdependence. So interdependence, along with impermanence, is one of the core principles of Buddhism. This is a quote from Karmapa, who's the head of one of the largest Buddhist schools in Tibet. So he states, the Buddha coined the term interdependence to describe the state of profound connectedness. Interdependence is the nature of reality. It's the nature of human life, of all things and all situations. We are all linked and we all serve as conditions affecting each other. And this was found in the Lion's Roar Buddhist magazine. So at LABCC summer camp, everyone experiences this interdependence. So campers and staff depend on each other to have a great time and to be safe. We depend on the kitchen staff to feed us every day. We all really work together for a common goal. One of the longtime staff members who's been volunteering for over 30 years, he's a really good friend of mine, his name's Jason Nawa. He always gives a little talk at the opening or closing campfire. This is when the entire camp comes together. He reminds the campers about how we're connected to and dependent on nature, how the sun gives us light, how the trees gives us oxygen, how we should protect the planet, and how we should conserve our precious resources like water. He points to the sky to show us the millions of stars that we normally can't see in the city due to the bright city lights. It's this interdependence that keeps me going back to camp every year. It's no surprise that we have staff that have been volunteering for 30, 40, and even 50 years. It's really a generational phenomenon where campers become counselors, campers grow up and send their own kids to camp. And like I previously said, we now have former campers that send their grandkids to camp. So I'm really grateful for those original Nisei that started this camp because it's really, truly remarkable. Many kids are transformed from the experience as well as the staff members. And we all become fellow travelers of the Dharma, and we all are own community and Sangha. So as I wind down my talk here, here are the key takeaways for my talk today. So interdependence. Interdependence is one of the core Buddhist principles. We're all connected to one another and to nature. I want you all to get outdoors and experience nature. It's really refreshing to be outdoors, to unwind and to unplug. There is a group of OCBC members that do a quarterly nature hike around Orange County. It's led by Nancy Hawkins and Jill Katsuda. So please come and join us if you want or if you can. And then finally, find your Sangha. You can learn about Buddhism through books and videos, but to really experience Buddhism, you need to find your Buddhist community. For me, my Sangha is the OCBC community and the LABCC community. So thank you for listening today. Let's close with Gasho, and we're going to close with LABCC Gasho style. Namo Kie Butsu. Namo Kie Ho. Namo Kie So. Namo Dam.